before you start it, let me move this again.
Okay, this is a testimony, thank you, between Maija-Liisa and myself, Sasha Sabbath. And this is all about you just having completed taking the Ignite Your Intuition course. Would you please tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are, so that when people watch this testimony, they can really step into your world with you?
Thanks, Sasha. I am a solopreneur, and very organically, I landed into being a speaker coach, and with a specific niche of helping people who want to get in the middle of the red dot, the TEDx stage. And I do that through either helping them land the stage, or land the stage and rock their talk, or land the stage, rock their talk, and use the video afterwards to get more views. And the reason they're interested is they want to raise their credibility and have that moment that might be a bucket list or a vision board or just a personal thing they want to or feel like they need to do that. And you and I met in a speaker mastermind and in a business mastermind that two different ones that we were working on together. And as a solopreneur, I have my own habits that I use. I use daily prayer, but I also, it was good to work with you and be invited to work with you one other time. But on this particular course that we just went through, what happened for me was, first I knew that I was going to set aside time as a busy solopreneur and actually dedicate that hour and a half to listening to your guided questions and then coming up with the answers that came from me. And that I would also learn tools that would help me focus more on ways to get everything else out of the way so I could just hear the answers that are innately in me. And it also ignited in me my own personal practices of personal prayer and getting revelation straight from God that I have practiced, of stepping that up and even being more intentional in that. And from
beautiful.
that then it helps me, you know, have a very specific goal. We each choose our own goal. And I think when we sometimes set a goal, we maybe forget about it or we don't put the things in place, but this says, okay, this is what the goal is. And when you do focus on that and ask questions through many different ways, my own personal practices and adding yours and just simply writing it down and setting a time and being accountable with the buddy, it is more likely to come to pass. And it is more likely to bring up things we have not thought about or heard in a typical business mastermind.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that it strengthened your communication with your God self. And you were already doing that. Yes. It just took it to a different level of detail and results, really, that were God driven.
Yeah, it ended up being much deeper, stronger conversations. I feel I ask a question and that I get a response from that, and they're just short, brief things. And I've focused more because of learning the different techniques too, and just focusing in on one little thing and like taking the next step and the next step. It helps. I mean, you can come into a course and then not do the work and feel additional overwhelm, or you can come in and be guided and then lessen that overwhelm because you're going to be kept on task.
Yes.
And move forward with the techniques that you have added to what you already do.
Right. So that actually leads very well to the next question, which is, what do you feel, or I should say, I'll phrase it this way, why do you feel that confidently using your intuition is important in your life?
Well, because I was raised that way, that you know, we're here for a purpose and we can have a specific connection and get those answers ourselves, have a personal revelation. And life happens and trauma happens and every day happens and so forth. And so it's really, even in that practice, you have to really have it as a habit that you in the morning, noon, and night are praying. And it's the same thing here. If you learn something that enhances that, you have to practice it. It'll feel different at first, but the more you practice it, you'll feel heaven and earth connect, for example.
Yes. Yes. And so it sounds like this course strengthened that habit for you.
Yes. And
Beautiful.
then I would get frustrated if I didn't get the technique. And so then I have to, make the work or talk to you and say, okay, let me see if I'm doing this right, or what have I missed in that. So it is important to be there every time and to practice on it and to ask questions, because it's like in anything else, the more we do it or practice it, the better we get at it and the more results we see from it, which that's a great benefit of it.
Yes. And why do you think that that's important? So that the viewers can hear your perspective of why is it important to be communicating with your intuition, especially so regularly. You're using intuition, which I agree with,
Mm-hmm.
interchangeably with you communicating with God through prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you feel that this is important in your life, and perhaps for others to consider the importance of regular, frequent communicating with your intuition or your God communication?
Right. What happens for me is, as I had my practice before, is the more I asked those questions and went further in the conversation, and I would ask a specific question, listen intently for the answer, and then be brave enough to take the action. Sometimes the answer of what I needed to do next surprised me. Often it did. Often it was very simple. And I'm like, I'm paying all this money to do this and trying to do this and look at all these different courses, when really I can just focus and it will move you faster. Then when I would not stop, but I wouldn't do it quite as often, then it doesn't happen. It's the same thing with the intuitive techniques that you do. The more that you use them, the more in tune you are. And often, even going through yours, I'd be surprised at the answers that would come. Never thought of that before. Because we can teach things, but you teach it in a way that these are techniques, but you're not telling us the answers. And
Right.
sometimes there's a plethora of people wanting to tell you, no, you shouldn't do this. You should do this. And I know the motivation from God is pure. And I know that you're not trying to push me in a way to do business a certain way.
Right.
You're enabling me to figure that out by getting quiet and using the technique.
Exactly. Perfect. You got it. Exactly. My commitment is to empower you to
Yes,
not need me.
absolutely. And I feel that from you.
Yeah. Thank you. The next question is, in what ways were you struggling in using your intuition before taking this class?
I was struggling in my own personal habits that I had, and I wasn't using the techniques that you had done for me. And I saw that happen to the sales go like this to begin with, and then start to go like this. And when you reached out to me intuitively, I'm like, yep, no surprise right there. And so that again brings that focus, and it's gotten me moving again in the right direction, going
Wonderful.
back to where I am and then moving past it. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you were struggling because you had lost your momentum, you had lost the habit, you hadn't been
And you know
using.
how I lost it? I lost it by not doing those things and started listening to people. Oh, work with me, do this, and too many voices. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what this does. Either way you do it, or especially if you combine them both, of it's just, what is it I should do at this stage? And that's what people miss a lot of the time.
Yes, because they don't have, it's like a boat that's out to sea, but the anchor is not moored. And so you just get battered around in the waves of information and content and strong wills, other
Yes.
people's strong wills. Good. All
Yeah.
right, we're zipping along here. The next question is, what has been your beneficial results in taking the class? You already said some. What else would you say were the beneficial results that you got from taking the class?
Well, one of the benefits from taking the class, coupled with taking the previous class, a different type, your mastermind, is the buddy system, because we can learn it here and we can hope we will practice it. But when you're held accountable, even if you don't do everything right, you have a certain time that you're meeting with that person, and you want to keep that commitment and you want to help them. and you want to be helped by them. And so that's one of the benefits that comes from this as well.
Yeah. And the key about that is that the fact that if certain things were not done, that's fine. That's still part of the process. And
Yeah.
that's a place to explore and to share with your buddy, just so everybody can keep customizing what works for me, what works for me, what works for me. You know, can
Yes,
you
exactly.
can you think of anything else that you consider were beneficial results from taking the class?
Well, I guess if I just listed them again, it's having a goal, and then looking at how you already have achieved that in the past or how you want to move forward. And then in my situation, using at a deeper level, because I'm looking at yours, my personal practices, and then getting new techniques from you, and then having the set time, and then having the set buddy. And it's hard as a solopreneur to fit everything in. Someone calls you and can I meet with you? And there's this little window, but you've got it carved out. You know, you need to be there. And
Yeah.
what I find is if we will do those things, we may not feel like we're making progress, but it's almost like a bamboo tree that doesn't grow very much at first, and then suddenly it just springs up.
Yes, that's a great analogy. That is a great analogy. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you can think of as you kind of scan back over the last 6 weeks that were beneficial results that you got from the course?
I think one that's overlooked is just how you keep us on task too. And it's if we look at how you do things, that will help us also in the way we do sales and how we
Yes.
hold people accountable lovingly.
Yes. So say a little bit more about that. How I taught the class, or how you hear me talk about things in my own life. Which are you referring to?
Not how you talk about things in your own life. It's more how you run the class and how you run a sales call and how you run after each weekly class and so forth. Sometimes I think, okay, I got to spend this time and go through. You're going to make me think, right? When I just want to go, okay, I know what I feel. I'm just done with it. But you actually have us process it. That's what even you're doing in the moment right now. And I'm like, okay, I see the wisdom in doing this. It's not really about sales. It is, of course, it's a testimonial, but it's really about helping me reflect and process.
Integrate.
And yeah, integrate's a great word. And also put it into my own words so that I can put it into my head and heart.
Yes, integrate and embody. You got it. That's the whole name of the game in terms of where I think people need to understand their purpose in taking this course or any course. How can they integrate it, and how do they embody it so
Yes.
that they can really implement it? So integrate, embody, implement. Fabulous. Thank you.
And you are about all of those things, especially, I mean, not especially, but also the implementation, because what's the purpose? How many people take a course and don't even show up? Or they buy a course and they just show up for the thing and don't do any homework, or they just do it part way. But you, in a loving way, remind us to do the work because we see the benefit, and then it'll surprise you how fast things can change.
Yes, for the better, for the better. Thank
Exactly.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question. We're almost through the list here. So what really worked well for you in the course that you found particularly useful? Anything else that other than what you've already mentioned? The difference in this question is, what worked well?
Well, just like I said, it was a reminder to step up my own personal one and personal way of.
So where we left off was more of you talking about what really worked well for you.
And the one thing I haven't said, I've said half of it, and I'll say the next half. And the first half was remember it strengthened my own personal practice. It added techniques, and just like that, having already done one course and learning some techniques, then learning new ones, it reminds you of the other ones that you may have slacked off on, and you maybe come and the first time you'll make a big jump and the next time a different one, but they build upon each other, upon your foundation. And so it's reminding you of all the tools, because I believe that we're all God's children and that he speaks to us in the way that we can hear it.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful, true. And you do have a tremendous toolkit now. So that'll be great when you go back and look at it all, because it does seem to really strengthen your communication to your God self and your God communication, which is really what I think is the most important, especially nowadays. So thank you for wording it that way. So the next question is to share one particular exciting win that occurred for you during the 6-week period of this course, where you know that you use the tools from this course.
Okay, this course was a little shorter than the last one, so I maybe it's more in progress, but it's definitely a directional change. It's, I was already going here and then I'd slacked off, and so immediately after you reached out to me, it started to shift again, and it gave me more desire to stick with things longer and to just, it's like changing the rudder of your boat and getting back in the direction that you need to go is really the biggest win this time. And it's still moving, and more of those collaborations are coming. They have not come to fruition yet in the 6 weeks, but I can feel them coming. And they will come, I'm sure, before we finish the other part of the course, which is once a month for 3 months, we're going to check in.
Right.
And I have every faith that it will have turned around by then.
Beautiful. So the win that you're noticing is that you're taking the steps necessary, and the feedback from the universe, so to speak, is that you're starting to build and reignite and find new collaborations. Is that what you're saying in your business?
Yep.
In your business, which will lead to what in your desired reality?
That leads to the financial goal that I have.
Okay.
And with that financial goal, that comes the clients that I want to help them to find them, because it's easier to find leads when you work with someone than it is to just go to several different individual that way, or groups like this.
Yes.
It's like the shift for me is, instead of just doing it the way I have been doing it, is to work with people who have a group of people already. And then that happens more quickly and at a higher financial level.
Yes. And you feel that you're getting more of a evidence that those synchronicities and connections are happening.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay.
I actually have the first one is going to happen August 2nd. It will happen the end of August. So a group that I meet with on Wednesdays, it will be for their group. And instead of having to make all these separate sales calls and having put out my own emails, it's like me coming to you and saying, Sasha, would you get a group together, people who want to give a TEDx talk? And then we talk to them, and then they sign up with you, and then I teach them how to do that, get them on the stage.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's a great model. Okay.
Yep.
All righty. And so.
And I can directly link that from working with you.
In how? Can you say a little more about that?
Yes, because, well, this time it's going back and reminding, I need to do more of that. The first time I was in a group is like, that aha came. And the goal that I had financially, which also has a number of people I want to help, came. And it was because when you and I first met, we were taught just to have a private client. And then the next step is to do group clients, but then that's up to us to find them, have a Facebook Live and different ways to reach out. But this way is you just meet one person who says, I see the value, and I have a whole group of people who want to do this.
Yes.
And then boom, it happens.
Oh, absolutely.
And that happens from working together.
Okay, so you're noticing that is actually starting to really happen.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one starts in a couple of days.
Yes. So another question is, based on your experiences, why would you endorse people working with me?
Okay. I would endorse it, because if you feel like there are too many voices out there, then you can come and be in this, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but be in a safe space where you're trying to let us be in tune with what really needs to happen. And it's going to be different answers for everybody in the group, instead of you saying, okay, all 12 of you need to do this. You're going to have all 12 of us use a technique, but the answers we get from that technique will be individual. And I think that's how God works.
Yes. And so in terms of, people have so many access, have such access to so many different facilitators and mentors and teachers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think might be valuable for people to know about your experience of being in a container with me guiding it, so whatever you think to say to help people know what it's like with me, my personality, my orientations, my style, that sort of thing.
Right. And I think the benefit of working with you is that you do have a different style. It's a refreshing style than most people have out there. And you are firm in, like, this is the structure and this is where we're going to get you to, but it gives individual results, and they're not individual results in that some people don't do it and that type of thing, but it really opens it up more than other things to help you get it, instead of being told, do this many calls, do this many things. It's like you get to discover, because of working with you, you're like, it's like we're bowling and we're new at it. And instead of having all the gutter balls, like you're keeping us in there to at least get one pin, and then we learn to get 3 pins, and then we take the guides down, the more we can do this and we can get the strikes.
All right. I used to bowl. Okay. All right. I think
I don't know if because I didn't even make the discovery until you asked the question, and so I probably need to articulate it better. But I've been in programs where they basically have a cookie cutter approach.
Yeah.
And this is a cookie cutter approach in terms of, I'm going to take you through learning these techniques, but the purpose is you get to decide what you do based on the answers that come, because you took the time to sit down, because you had a guide to walk you through these questions, and you relaxed enough to say, what is it that I need to do? And it's unique.
Beautiful. True. And so, dovetailing off of that, who do you think would best benefit from this course? Where would they be in their life? What would they be up to in life where this course would be a perfect fit for them?
I think it's anyone who's seeking to go to the next level in whatever they're already doing. And maybe they're feeling like there's so much information out there. It takes so much time to go through all this information. I can shorten the process by getting in tune and using my intuition, because that's what I already knew personally. And that's what this has added, even coming through and learning the new techniques, is there are many tools available for me then to actually get quiet, ask the question, and get the answer, and then move forward with it.
Yes. So that the results are with less wear and tear.
Yeah, you get there faster. Yeah, I was so amazed that, like, okay, it actually happens. I mean, I gave the example of the bamboo, and because lots of times you'll get benefit out of almost any course that you take, but this one has the potential to be more exponential, because it's so individualized, the work that we do, the answers we get from it.
Yes. And the completely customized for you where you are in your life.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you do a great job, because there will be people at different levels in the class. And I always think it's a great teacher when someone, even like 4th grade, for example, by that time we have kids that are moving ahead and some that might be lagging a little bit. You have the gifted and you have the ones that need extra help, and the rest in between. And so someone who can teach math, for example, the levels they need to, or reading at the different levels when they're talking to the same people, or do a little individualized coaching, that's very helpful.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, so now what I would love for you to do is to tell people a way for them to be in touch with you. Either
Oh,
share your website or your email address or both,
mhm.
so that they can reach out to you for your wisdom that you bring out through your work.
Well, thank you, Sasha. And what I do is I help people who want to, they have an idea, they'd like to get in the middle of that red dot. So my website is red.ready.com.
Oh, this is new to me. What is this now?
Red.ready.com. You're used to my ML Speaks, which you can get to the same one right now, but I will be splitting them because as I do more speaking, which is also a benefit of this, is thinking outside the box of what the speaking I was doing. I mean, from not from this particular program because it hadn't happened then, but from the last one I was in, I ended up on a stage speaking to over 500,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So spell the website so that people absolutely get it right.
Okay, red, R-E-D, like the color, .dot, so don't put a period yet. Ready, R-E-A-D-Y, and then put a dot, C-O-M.
So it's two D's, REDDOTREADY.com.
Red.ready.com. Yeah.
Okay, well, Maija-Liisa, dear, mwah, thank you for your time. Thank you
You're
for all
welcome.
that you shared. And I'll say goodbye.
Well, and thanks for
Bye.
reaching out to me so I could move forward again.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Bye-bye.